Social status. Change of social status of teachers is another area which might need long-term planning. This might be the most complicated, difficult, and hard to implement. So this is another area in which the government of Pakistan needs to work on. This is an area which is very difficult to be met according to the criteria of the teaching practices in the classroom. But it has to be looked at and the policies need to be modified. The low performance in the classrooms by highly qualified teachers is a strong argument for the fact that teaching is considered a not very prestigious profession. This perception has to be changed. So, even if people have a high class or they are thinking that they are coming from high social circle and the knowledge that they have is coming from high educational system and they have studied in institutions which are considered to be in the social class of higher level, even then they need to change their attitudes when they are in the classrooms. The teaching practices should be uniform and the government has to see to it. First of all, the government has to set a policy. This policy has to be made aware and made familiar to all the people who are running the schools, whether they are in the private sector or the public sector. So once they understand the perception of the profession of teaching, they will be able to respect the profession, and then from them it will be transmitted to the school authorities, the members of the school, the teachers, the parents, the community members, that teaching is a noble profession. So everybody must respect a teacher and the profession. This feeling has to prevail in the school and this feeling has to prevail in the country. It is not so that teachers who have high social class are good teachers and they are supposed to be doing anything in the school, even they are not applying the certification that they have done. They don't even use the classroom strategies and they don't use the classroom practices just for the reason that they belong to a higher social class. This should not be the practice, and it is the job of the government to set these rules, set these policies, and then apply them to all schools, and they should be uniform. It is a very difficult task to do. Very few people would be successful in the first year, but if there is a policy which is set by government and the school owners and the school heads and the authorities in the government, they follow up that whether these are being practiced in the classroom, then only this change will bring a drastic change in the teaching in the classrooms, and the teaching level and standards will improve greatly. Women teachers who are not very highly educated to start with are not very willing or cannot move away from the families and are not expensive to be hired. So the government needs to take care of this factor also, that people who are not belonging to a very high class cannot be moved from their places, from their families. They need to consider. It has been analyzed and the study has been done where such people who are unable to move from their families for economic reasons because they have to support their families are sometimes posted at far away places where it becomes really impossible for the teachers to travel home and bring all the things that are needed to support the family. So it becomes impossible for the teacher to carry on with their profession. All these things should be taken care by the government, that the transfer policy of the teachers, especially in the rural areas, and especially with the teachers who have lower social class, who are unable to provide support to the family if they are far away from the family, all these things need to be considered by the government, and a policy should be made for these people not to be transferred at faraway places from their homes, so that they are satisfied wherever they are working, that they are supporting their family and fulfilling the needs of their family while doing justice to their profession.